Hey, Ben, you spoke tonight about how individuals are tearing this country apart, essentially, on a bipartisan basis, and it's leading to kind of the degradation of this country. I was watching some of your YouTube highlight reel, essentially, and you talk about how you mentioned institutional racism and this idea that it's the individuals versus the institutions and what's truly racist.
And when I define institutions, I mean like you actually have to look at the institution and see that there's a rule that is racist.
Right.
Because then I can fight that.
Exactly. So my question is, can this idea be applied to the broader American political system? Essentially, are we so entrenched in this us versus them idea that it's going to have irreversible implications on our system? And essentially a follow-up question, what impact will it have on the overall system going forward?
Well, that is my fear. I mean, my fear is that we've reached such a reactionary point in American politics that it's going to be very difficult to draw back from the brink. So there's this idea that if something pisses off the left on the right, that thing must be good. I'm not going to name names here, okay? The idea that if something makes the left angry, this must be a good thing, okay? Two things can be true at once. It can piss off the left. It can also be not something that you want to be associated with or think is a good thing. And, I think that on the left, it's the same thing. Well, if the right opposes it, it must be bad. If the right's for it, it must be, or if the right opposes it, it must be good. If the right's for it, it must be bad. I think that, yes, the first thing that we have to do is put aside the idea that we're going to use the shortcut of what does my enemy hate as a proxy for actual thinking. I wrote a column on this, it's going to come out in National Review tomorrow, and this is basically the idea of it. I used an example from November. So here's the example I used from November. There's a massive college protest. I think this is in Louisiana, New Orleans, massive college protest against a speaker who says that he's a huge fan of Donald Trump, and he's going to vote for Donald Trump and stump for Donald Trump as hard as he can. Massive protest, mostly by black students in New Orleans. Police come and they pepper spray a bunch of people. Now, here's the question. The speaker, we can do a show of hands actually. The speaker, how many people think the speaker is bad? How many people think the speaker is good? Okay, how many people think you don't know enough to actually gauge whether the speaker is bad or good? That is the correct answer. Okay, you don't know enough. But the way that people respond to these things is, here's the situation, I don't like the people protesting, therefore the person must be good. And it's a good thing you said you don't know enough about the situation, because the speaker I'm specifically talking about is David Duke, right, who was protested at a college in New Orleans and said he was a big Trump supporter. He also happened to say that the media was run by Jews and all the rest of it. But, the fact is that if we use our enemies as a proxy for thinking, we're not actually thinking. So the first thing we have to do is stop using our enemies as we're just going to bounce off what the enemy thinks. And then you're letting your enemy define you. You're letting your enemy define what you like and what you don't like. You should know what you like and what you don't like. You shouldn't have to wait for the Huffington Post to tell you what you're supposed to hate.